The clinking of silverware against china was a familiar symphony, a soundtrack to our seemingly perfect life. Tonight, however, the melody felt off-key, discordant. We were at the Gilded Lily, a restaurant chosen by my wife, Clara, for its sophisticated ambience, a place where the butter was sculpted into tiny swans and the prices made my wallet weep. Present were our closest friends, Omar and Nora, who had known us since our college days. And, of course, Clara's business partner, a slick-haired, perpetually grinning man named Damien. For the past 6 months, Damien had been the constant, irritating hum in the background of my life. He'd started out as a mention, a casual reference to someone Clara was collaborating with on a revolutionary new Omariting campaign. Then the mentions grew more frequent, the late nights at the office more common, and the subtle shift in Clara's attention became a roaring silence between us. Tonight, she was particularly effusive. "Damien, tell them about the Johnson account," she said, her hand resting possessively on his forearm. I watched, my stomach churning, as Damien, ever eager, launched into a verbose explanation of their supposed triumph. Omar and Nora, bless their souls, tried to engage me in the conversation, but my responses were stilted, my gaze drawn to the way Clara's eyes sparkled at Damien's every word. It was a performance, a carefully orchestrated charade where I was the unwitting, silent audience member. She went on, "You wouldn't believe how incredibly insightful Damien is, he just understands what makes a business tick, doesn't he? Oh, and the connections, you should see the connections, darling, they are endless," she said to me as she beamed with a smugness I had never seen before. I forced a smile, a mask I'd worn so often lately that it had started to feel like a part of my skin. As Damien droned on about projected profits and Omarit analyses, Clara, with a flourish, pulled out her new phone, a sleek, rose-gold monstrosity that had replaced her old one after she claimed it had been accidentally broken. I had a sneaking suspicion, although I couldn't prove it, that it had been more deliberately discarded. "Oh, I just have to show you the concept boards Damien created, they are simply brilliant," she declared, holding it aloft like it was the Holy Grail. I had been enduring this farce for too long, the subtle digs, the blatant displays of affection towards another man, the way she made me feel like I was invisible. It had been a slow burn, a gradual erosion of my self-worth, a painful descent into a pit of uncertainty and heartache. But beneath the veneer of passivity, a quiet rage had been brewing, a storm gathering strength, waiting for the opportune moment to unleash itself. That moment, I decided, was now. "Actually, Clara," I said, my voice startlingly calm in contrast to the excited chatter, "I believe I have something to show everyone too." The table fell silent. Damien's enthusiastic monologue was abruptly cut short. Clara's hand froze mid-swipe on her phone screen. Everyone turned towards me, curiosity and a flicker of apprehension in their eyes. I reached into my jacket pocket, pulling out a USB drive. "I found this in your old purse, the one you claimed to have misplaced," I said, addressing Clara directly, my gaze unwavering. A bead of sweat trickled down her temple. The color drained from her face, replaced by an unsettling pallor. "I plugged it into my computer yesterday," I continued, my voice still even, though a tremor of anger was beginning to surface. "And what I found was rather illuminating." I picked up my phone, plugged the USB drive into a small adapter and connected it to my phone. A projection of my phone screen was projected onto the wall behind them. A series of photos appeared, grainy, but undeniably clear. Clara and Damien, not in the office, but in a small, discreet motel on the outskirts of town, kissing passionately, entwined in each other's arms. Then followed a series of intimate photos, each more damning than the last. A collective gasp filled the room. Clara sputtered, her eyes wide with a mixture of panic and disbelief. That's not what it looks like," she stammered, her voice trembling. I could feel the weight of everyone's gaze on her. Omar and Nora looked like they had just witnessed a car crash. Damien, his usual smug grin replaced with a look of pure terror, stared down at his plate. I was no longer the invisible man. I was the one holding the cards. "Oh, I assure you, Clara, it's exactly what it looks like," I said, my voice taking on a new edge, cold and sharp. "I've also found emails, text messages, and even a rather detailed breakdown of your business trips to that charming establishment." I gestured towards the projection on the wall. "You've been lying to me, Clara, for months," I continued, the full extent of her betrayal crashing down on me. You've been parading this charade in front of me and our friends, thinking you were so clever. Tears began to well up in her eyes, but it was too late for tears. They meant nothing anymore. She had made her choice, repeatedly, and I was no longer willing to play the fool. But, the company. I was doing it for us, she pleaded, her voice cracking. For us. Clara, you were destroying us, I said, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. You were so busy chasing after success, and this pathetic excuse for a man that you completely forgot about our marriage, about me. I turned to Omar and Nora, their faces etched with shock and sadness. I'm sorry you had to witness this, I said, my voice softening. I didn't want to involve you, but I needed to set the record straight. Damien, finally finding his voice, tried to interject. Look, man, this is all a misunderstanding. I cut him off with a look so fierce that it instantly silenced him. You, I said, my eyes locking onto his, are the lowest form of human scum. You're a coward, a home wrecker, a parasite who preys on other people's happiness. You disgust me. I turned back to Clara, the last vestiges of any affection I had for her completely gone. I want a divorce, Clara. I've already spoken to a lawyer. You'll be hearing from them. I grabbed my phone and the USB stick. I looked around, a wave of melancholy washing over me, a profound feeling of liberation too. I had finally exposed her for the liar she had become. I'm leaving, I announced. I will see you both in court. I turned and walked away, not looking back. I could hear the muffled sobs from Clara, the pathetic stammerings of Damien, but they were no longer my concern. My focus was on the future, a future free from deceit, lies and a marriage that had died a long time ago. I felt a strange mix of grief and relief. It was the end of an era, the shattering of an illusion. But it was also the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where I was in control, where I wouldn't allow myself to be taken for granted ever again. I stepped out of the restaurant into the cool night air, taking a deep breath, the sound of the clinking silverware and the hollow laughter of my past fading into the background, finally replaced by the calm of my new reality. The world had come crashing down around her, and for the first time in a very long time, I felt a sense of peace.